Once upon a time, there lived a woman named Femi. She was married to Dayo. They had been married for the past 3 years. That was 3 years of unhappiness for Femi. Throughout the 3 years, Dayo had attacked her many times for many different reasons. He would insult her and say, "No one will care for you," like he did. Because of his abuse, she was unable to conceive. Anytime she told her parents, they would tell her to endure and be a better wife. Femi gradually believed that something was wrong with her. Maybe she was not submissive enough as was expected, or she was not humble enough as she was supposed to. Therefore, it made sense for Dio to attack her. This went on for another year. One day, Femi went to see her friend Uloma. Uloma had just given birth to her second child. Uloma was happy to see Femi and hugged her. She greeted her and served her refreshments. As they talked, Uloma, trying to pour more palm wine for her friend, broke the calabash that was next to her. Once the calabash fell to the ground and it made a sound of hitting the floor, Femi jumped up and started whimpering. She was shaking in fear. "What have you done?" she said. "Your husband will beat you." She looked around, expecting someone to jump out and attack them immediately. Ulama was surprised to hear this. "Why would my husband hit me?" she asked. Femi was still afraid. She stood, expecting an attack any moment. Then Arinze, Uloma's husband, came. He said he had heard something break and he came to see what had happened. Uloma explained that it was when she was trying to pour some wine for Femi that the calabash broke. The first question Arinze asked was, "Are you okay? Are you both okay?" And Uloma said yes, everything was fine. Arinze helped Uloma pack up the pieces of the broken calabash and then he left. Femi was shocked by the whole scene. She stood still as if she had seen a ghost, and then she burst out crying. She cried and cried for hours. Uloma just held her. Femi finally told Uloma all she had been going through at her husband's hand. Uloma said she suspected so. People in the village talked about how brutal her husband Daya was. Uloma explained to her that that behavior was not normal. No husband should treat his wife less than a human. Femi looked tired and confused and asked, what can she do? Her parents told her it was normal and that she was not a good wife. That is why Dayo was treating her that way. Uloma said it's not normal for one to live in fear of their husband. One should respect according to tradition, but one should not be afraid. Uloma advised her that she should leave her husband, otherwise she may be found dead. This was unthinkable in their culture. For a man to return your bride price and for the calabash of union to be broken was an abomination. No woman leaves her husband except in death. Femi immediately rejected the idea. The next few weeks were the same. Daya will beat her every other day. One day, for whatever reason, Femi made up her mind to leave Dayo. She was disgraced. Her parents called her a failure. They rejected her proposal to leave Dayo. Femi had to break the calabash herself, breaking her union with Dayo. She was ostracized by the whole village. Everyone called her a disgraced woman. "It's because of your bad behavior, that is why your husband cannot tolerate you," everyone will say. In the coming weeks, Dayo took another wife. Her name was Nkechi. She was younger and more beautiful than Femi. Dayo lavished her with clothes, money, and jewelry. She was the talk of the town as a new bride. People will praise her for being a humble and submissive wife to Dayo, unlike Femi, who was a wayward woman. Because of the shame, sadness, and unhappiness weighing down on Femi's spirit, she left the village. One night, she packed the little she had and left. Years passed, and the same story started circling the village. This time, it was Nkechi. Daya will beat her an inch of her life. She was not allowed to speak to her family without Dayo being there. She was not allowed to have friends. And she was not allowed to leave the house without Dayo's approval. One day, Dio beat her from their home to their front yard. Some passerbys could see what was happening, but no one came to intervene. No one came to her rescue. Then Nkechi fell and died. That was when everyone ran to see what had happened. Dio, fearing for his life, ran away, but the young men in the village caught him immediately. He was taken to the king. Nkechi's broken body was taken to her parents. Her parents cried, cried, and cried. It was her mother who said, "I told you not to allow that man to marry our daughter. He is an animal. See it now. Have you seen it? Tell me why you're crying. Why? Would that bring back my child?" Nkechi was the only child of her parents. Nkechi's mother, in pain, laid a curse on Dio, saying he will roam the earth as a madman for the rest of his life. And that's what happened. Dio became a madman. For years, he was mad. He roamed the streets as a madman. Then, he fell into a stream and died. Months later, Uloma went to the Ozo village. She went around asking for Mazi Uzonna's new compound. She met a man who showed her the way. When she got to the compound, she knocked and knocked at the door of the house, but no one responded. Then she heard what sounded like children laughing at the back. So she went to the back of the house, and that's when she saw the person she was looking for. Femi. Femi was carrying a child in her arms, while another one was running around her in circles. The man standing next to Femi was carrying another child. They were all laughing. Uloma called out to her, "Femi." That is when Femi looked up and saw her. Smiling, she waved, then she ran to her and hugged her. She said in excitement, "You found it. You found my home." Uloma said, "Yes, it was very easy. Everyone seems to know the compound." In excitement, Femi then introduced her to her three children and her husband, Uzonna. As Uloma bent down to greet all the children, that's when Femi saw the woman standing at Uloma's back. It was her mother. She looked so haggard and unkempt. Femi did not approach her. Uloma stood up and saw this. She then turned to Femi and said, "He has died." Femi asked, "Who has died?" Uloma said, "Dayo has died." And Femi burst into tears. Thank you so much for listening to another episode. If you liked it, please subscribe, like, comment, share. Thank you to those who have subscribed. Thank you to those who have supported. Until next time, goodbye.